Welcome back. And on this half of our program, I'm here with Kelly Luke-Shander from Community Resources and Kathleen Henry. And we are here to talk about the Virginia primaries, which are coming up when?
June 13th.
June 13th.
A Tuesday.
Okay,
Yes.
and Kathleen, I'm going to turn it over to you because you tell me that you have lots to tell me about, and I know nothing.
I do. Oh, well, okay, to be informed.
Educate
Okay.
us.
As you said, it's June 13th, and it's called a double primary. The reason for calling it a double primary is that both parties will have their primary in the same time, at the same space, at the same day. And that will be important.
Unusual?
Not that unusual. It's a money-saving device, as you can imagine, rather than doing it twice. But they have had times when the primaries have been on separate days, and they have had times when one particular party doesn't need a primary at all.
Okay.
But yes, and the polling place, of course, is in the Hunters Crossing Conference Center, and we're open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Okay. Now, at this double primary, there will be 2 ballots available. One will have Democratic candidates only, and the other Republican candidates only. Any of our residents may have either ballot, but not both. Since Virginia is an open primary state, which means we do not register by party, anyone can request either of the ballots and no one can challenge them about which ballot they will be voting on that particular day. Okay? Now, the Democratic candidates for governor are Ralph Northam and Tom Perriello. And for lieutenant governor, there are 3. Justin Fairfax, Jean Rossi, and Susan Platt.
And these were also listed a little bit about each one of them in the most recent Villager, in the May Villager.
That's right. And I'll get back to that in just a minute. The Republican candidates are Ed Gillespie, Corey Stewart, and Frank Wagner. And for lieutenant governor, Bryce Reeves, Glenn Davis, and Jill Vogel. Now, the League of Women Voters offers a website with totally nonpartisan information. It's the candidates giving their own story. The website is www.vote411.org. I thought that
411 as in the numbers 411.
You know, when you want directory information 411, this is vote411.org.
Okay.
A League of Women Voters service. Okay. There is no candidate for Attorney General on either ballot. That's just a coincidence. But the reason for that is that 2 people are not vying to be able to run for Attorney General for either party. Come November, you most assuredly will see a name for Attorney General. Now, since the time for filing for the November election has not come, we have to consider these 2 names I'm going to give you now as presumptive nominees for Attorney General. One is the Democratic incumbent, Mark Herring, and the other is a man named John Adams, who will be for the Republicans, okay? We will be using paper ballots and the OptiScan machine, as we have been for the last few elections.
Paper ballots are where we fill out the ballot, and the OptiScan machine is where it's just, we stick it in the machine and we never see it again.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes. And let me see, ballots are tallied on the spot. If you look carefully, you can see that little number tick up by 1, so you know that your ballot has been tallied. And the precinct results, just for our precinct, are known at the close of the day. And one of our election officers will go up and post these results on the glass door of Hunter's Crossing.
I didn't know that,
And
that it was known that quickly.
Yes, just for our precinct, I repeat, not for the whole county or certainly not for the state, but because I have had a lot of requests for people who can't readily get to the Hunter's Crossing, we make 2 extra copies and we post one on the other 2 Village Square and Town Center glass doors. But the next day, because, well, we're pooped.
You put it on the front door of the building?
The glass door, we're next to where they go by, right. Again, this year we will be utilizing the 2 elevator system. Now, we are unique. We probably have more people who need mobility devices than any other precinct, and yet we are just, I think, the only 2-story voting place, which complicates things a bit, but you will go down on the lobby elevator and up on the elevator from the back that goes into the hall. If you are able to use the stairs, you are not affected in any way. You just go up and down. The deadline for registering was May 22nd, which is passed, but I'm not too concerned about that because the registration percentage at Greenspring is just absolutely over the charts. We have had 1,800 plus registered voters out of 1,900 plus people. Mm-hmm. So, and just last Friday, we had an event. Kelly helped us organize that. The Fairfax County Electoral Board came to us and did voter registration, confirmed registrations if people weren't sure, and provided photo IDs. So that's 40 more people that we will have on our rolls. Yes. Okay, as with all elections, there are 3 ways to vote. Number 1 is to come down to the Hunter's Crossing polling place. Photo ID is required. Don't forget that, please.
Is the government photo ID?
No, well, yes, in a way. Your driver's license is the thing that we see most often. Also,
or if I don't have a driver's license anymore, I think there is a government-issued photo ID that you can get from the driver's license from the Department of Motor Vehicles.
And that's called a walker's license, I understand, and yes, you can get that.
Yes.
Now that gives you all the privileges that a regular driver's license does as far as
so that would be
on
acceptable
airplanes.
for those who don't have a driver's license.
But if you don't want to do that and you don't plan on flying anytime soon, then the county issued one that we just had the activity for is perfect for that. Okay. Then there is absentee by mail. June 6th is the deadline to apply. I've had people say to me, will you put an absentee ballot in my cubby? Well, actually, no, I don't have a supply of those in the apartment, no. But the absentee ballot applications, of course, I can provide you with. Again, June 6th is the last day to apply for an absentee ballot, and it has to be back on Election Day.
So you can provide the application.
That's correct.
For an absentee ballot. The resident has to submit that application by mail to Fairfax County, and then Fairfax County provides that absentee ballot by mail to the resident, and the resident fills it out and sends it by mail back to Fairfax County.
You're making it sound like a complicated process, and that you are 100% correct.
Okay.
It is a complicated process, and a lot can happen. The number of people who apply versus the number of people who complete the whole thing, not as high a percentage as we would like. And a thing to remember is this: the county marks you as having an absentee ballot when they send it to you, not when you send it back. That matters. And the third way is in-person absentee. Our residents have liked that a lot at the satellites. There's one in Franconia and one in West Springfield. But the bad news for a primary election is they're only open one day. It's June 10th from 9 to 5. So if you want to vote absentee in person, you only have one day.
What about our residents who live in Garden Ridge? How can they, is there any assistance for them to get to Hunter's Crossing? Is there any group of volunteers that assist them in getting to Hunter's Crossing?
I am going to let our totally competent
Kelly,
community resources person, Kelly,
I
because
knew there was a reason you were
Yes.
here.
That's
well,
right.
she is the staff point person, and I get the word, she gets the word, we do it. Tell them what you do, Kelly.
Yep, so I work with the programming staff and other people over at Garden Ridge to make sure the people that want to vote over there can. So there's many volunteers that are involved, and that goes through our volunteer coordinator office. She gets people to come in, that's Catherine Noble. And we coordinate with them. They know what date the elections are, and they can get over here with the help of volunteers and staff members. So they take a few buses over here during the day. We've had them come out for this photo ID event that we just recently had. So it's a combination of working with a few people, but we make sure anyone who wants to vote and can vote will come over and vote that day, or if not, absentee, which is, like she said, a little bit more difficult. But we try to get as many volunteers to get them over on the day that we can.
Kelly, would you like to talk about how many different aspects, departments of Green Spring are involved?
Absolutely.
We have about 2 minutes left.
Sure. So yes, it's a campus-wide event when we have these elections. So Kathleen is really the spearhead. I know she doesn't like to take all the credit, but there's multiple departments. It starts with her. We have our security team that needs to be alerted of media members and maybe candidates coming in. We also have parking spaces that need to be reserved and make sure they know all that kind of information. We have housekeeping. We need them to set up the room, of course. We can't have that. And we also have in the lobbies, we move all the couches away. Housekeeping does that for us, where we have tables for the Democratic Club and the Republican Club to display their different candidate materials. We have catering. They provide us with breakfast, lunch, and dinner for our workers of the polls, which is a great help since they're there from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m.
A long day.
Yes, a very long day. We also have community resources, so I help kind of get all those things in motion. I reserve the rooms. I help make sure the setup happens. I make sure there's any needed articles, flags, everything's in that room to make it an official polling place. So in transportation, we have them getting the buses over from Garden Ridge. We have the Garden Ridge staff getting their people over here, and the volunteer coordinator office getting people from Garden Ridge, and also people to help us. Sometimes we need extra support with the elevators and other things like that. So it is just across the board. And administration, of course, is the big push for all of this. They help us, make sure everybody, does what they need to do.
A big logistical effort.
It is.
We're out of time,
Sure.
but let's review one more time. The primary is when?
Is Tuesday, June 13th.
Tuesday, June 13th. You can read more about the candidates on the website of
The League of Women Voters. Vote411.org.
That's the best place to get the most balance. There's a little bit of information in the Villager, but it doesn't give all of the information
Right.
about each candidate. Ladies, thank you so much for coming on.
Our pleasure.
We appreciate all the information.